Today, I'm going to talk about how you can conduct your market research effectively in a systematic way in a short time so that you can gain the kind of insight you're wanting to get from your target market quickly and without wasting a lot of time. So, yesterday I was talking with a friend of mine, and he was trying to, he's a coach himself, his name is Paul Bialo, and he was trying to conduct a research on his target market, but it occurred to him that it was probably due to lack of clarity on how to conduct the research that he was facing issues. He was getting stuck and getting distracted when you tried to conduct the research. So today I'm going to talk about how the scientific research method, using the systematic research methodology process, we can also, as business people, can conduct our market research, and how we can design the process and achieve it in a very short amount of time. So let's get to it. And also in the end of the video, I'm going to give you an example of a market research that I conducted myself, and all the data that I kind of like collected, how it happened. So stick to the end of the video. Let's start. So as you can see, that the first step of conducting any research that you are going to do is to create a sort of a research design. Right now, what is exactly about research design, and what am I exactly talking about? Probably you are an entrepreneur, you're a coach or consultant. You, whenever you approach a market research process, probably you have some things in your mind that you want to find out. Let's take an example. Let's say if you're a coach and you have a target customer, probably who are digital marketers, maybe. Okay, or now what you want to know from them probably is like how much price their digital marketing agencies are willing to pay to a course creator like you are, right, or a consultant like you are, right, for the kind of service that you provide to them, how much they're willing to pay. That is your intention, you want to find out, and that's why you want to conduct research. So the first thing is to understand that we are wanting to conduct a research is because we want to know something. There is a problem at hand. A problem means that we don't know how much our target customer are willing to pay us for the kind of service we provide. We want to get a realistic information for it so that we can create our prices or whatever charging them, right? Now, but how to achieve that? There are many. Immediately you might think of many ways to achieve that. Like probably you just ask your friend, maybe, or you search a YouTube video what similar type of coach or consultants are charging to their target customer for the kind of similar services you're providing. You can approach it that way, and that could be, you might talk to an expert on the internet. You can do a number of things, but thing is, if you want a concrete solidified data, it would be better that if you follow a particular research methodological process, right, which is what I'm going to tell you, right? So it's because oftentimes you will find that the kind of you will find generalized data. If you just watch a YouTube video of or talk to an expert or somebody, you'll get a general idea, but probably you want some specific data, like exactly how much price they would be willing to pay you for the kind of service you are going to provide to them. And you have a exact specific niche customer, right? And you provide a very unique service, so not a lot of people can just give you this data without doing a proper research. So how to design this research? So first thing to understand is this: research methodology. So I'm not going to go too deep in this. This is a basic, some structures a research process must have. Some of the thing is you must have a clear purpose, like why are you doing the research in the first place, like what problem you are solving. I'm also going to give you an Excel sheet that I have created by which you can do the entire research process step by step. It has all the checklist and points there, so you need not worry about that. Second thing is type of investigation. What kind of investigation means like what kind of way you are going to probe into your market. So what kind of investigation that would be? I would talk about this a little detail. And there are many other things, like what kind of study setting there would be. Unit of analysis is about metrics, what kind of metrics you're going to use. I'm going to talk about that. Time horizon would be the kind of deadline you want to put for your research. What kind of deadline you want to put? You want to finish in 1 week, 1 day, 1 month? What? How much time are you willing to give to your research? Hypothesis testing. To understand this, we would talk about a little about what hypothesis is. A hypothesis is basically, before starting any research, you would try to have some idea, like, if I do this, this would probably happen. Okay, and you would want to see by conducting the research that whether what your idea is true. That idea that you had, that you are trying to find out whether it's true or not, that idea is hypothesis. Let's make it a little simple for you. Let's say you're a marketer, you're a copywriter, okay, and you want to find out a particular type of copywriting for a particular type of product. Let's say for a biscuit, this type of copywriting, like it has all this nutrition and this, does this attract the target market enough to make them complete the purchase? Okay, you want to find out whether this kind of copywriting message works or not. Or maybe you are a graphic website designer, okay, and you want to find out, when you talk with your target customer on a call, what kind of uh, way you should approach him in order for him to get on board with you. Okay, what kind of things you should say immediately to create the first impression? You want to find that out. Now, you always would probably start with some kind of basic idea. Like the copywriter probably would start with some of the basic idea, like, okay, if I have this statement, okay, this like this biscuit contains this kind of nutrition, and this would help you stay fit and healthy, or whatever nonsense, right? Or if the web designer wants to say to his target clients in his first impression statement, like, I am a web designer who will make you website in like less than 5 minutes or something, probably that is what he's going to test out. So this is the hypothesis. Like, your hypothesis would be that what you have in your mind, that you think it's right, and you want to test out in reality whether it's right or not. That is the hypothesis, and that is why we're conducting the research, to test it out. Okay, so I'll talk about this again, how to create the hypothesis and how to test it out and all that. Okay, now second, there is then correlational, like we will test out and we'll try to find out correlates, like we are going to have a lot of metrics to check, like if we do this, does this produce the result or not? So all of that correlations. Then many other ways of conducting research, like minimal, individual, cross-sectional research. We need not talk in detail about that because it's not important here. Now, this is a step-by-step process of how marketing research works. Now, this is not just for market research. Technically, this methodology actually can be used for anything, actually. I think there is a little problem here in the slide. Okay. The pictures are probably overlapping. I will delete the pictures in a while. Now, the first step, if you can see here, is to establish the problem that needs to be solved. So they are overlapping here. Let me just delete it for you, just a second. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so the first step is to establish the problem that needs to be solved. You have to have a clear problem statement that you are trying to solve before even beginning the research, because unless the problem is very clearly defined, you cannot create a research process. Okay, second is how to solve it. You must have some clarity how you're going to solve the problem, and the way to solve the problem would become the research process itself. Now, after you have some idea like how to solve the problem, you're going to move to the third step: determine the methodology for conducting the research. Now, what individual step are you going to take in order to solve the research, in order to conduct the research? So as you can see, that there is focus group survey, mystery shopping, customer panels. These are for basically FMCG type companies. They do that. If you are a consultant, you're a coach, you're a digital infopreneur or entrepreneur, what mainly would you be using would be online research. You could be using online forms like Google survey form, you would be using SurveyMonkey, you'd probably using Facebook surveys, you're probably going to use, all the digital marketing related survey techniques. Probably that would be your research methodology, right? Direct outreach methods, and that I would also talk in deeply about that a while after. Then the fourth process would be design the data collection tool. Now, how are you going to collect the data? What kind of tools are you going to use? Right? As I said, like Google Form could be something you can use as a tool if you are conducting survey online, right? Now, the fifth step is how to collect the data. So once you have got some clarity on what kind of tools you're going to use to collect the data, now you have to actually collect the data. You have to probably get them all the information you are getting on a daily basis from the research work into some Excel sheet, so that we come to the next step, which is to analyze the data. So we can analyze all the data we have collected and create correlations, like what causes what, right? So that we can achieve at an objective. And now after you have that, you can, like, this is the basically present a thorough written and oral report. This basically would be your conclusion, like what are you concluding from the entire research process, right? Now, these are like the 8 common market research methods. These are not actually relevant for digital entrepreneurs, but still some of them are, like secondary research, social media research, in-depth interviews. You can do it through direct customer calls, which I'm also doing at the moment. You can have focus groups. Focus groups is something like extremely valuable. Like if you can gather your 5 or 10 target customer and conduct a direct interview in a group while having them online, in an interview, and ask them specific questions while you observe how the every person reacts to that kind of question. From that you can really derive a lot of intel, like how your target customer reacts to certain kind of messaging. Let me give you an example on focus group. Like, if the focus group has been there for like a long time. Like, let's say if you were a soap making company, okay, which you are not, definitely, just giving an example. The soap makers would do this. They would have the target customer who would be housewives, who would be probably, a woman, or people of that, yeah, mainly them. Now they would bring different kind of women, different kind of housewives from different parts of the town, different educational background and capabilities and financial status, and mix them up, and ask them, or pay them first to join this focus group interview. And they will keep ask them to sit in a room, a small closed room, while they will have cameras and everything, and there will be this interviewer who would be asking them questions. And there will also be like a lot of pictures of different kinds of soaps present in the room, like on the wall maybe. And in the camera would be recording like which kind of women are actually paying attention to which kind of soaps, and how they're reacting to the questions. There will be sometimes arguments inside the group because of some certain question for which people differ in opinion with. And from all this, the company would derive a lot of data from which they can analyze and create a customer avatar, by which they can actually come and conclude the copywriting that would be there, the branding that can be made for the particular soap company. So a focus group, you can also, as a coach, as a consultant, can do in an interview setup, an online interview, and create specific instructions. And you can find a lot of information about that in YouTube, in and other sites who people who talk about focus groups. You can find a lot of data. So one thing you can see that this is actually also talks about the immediacy and sustainability of extrapolation. Like if you're conducting secondary research is you when you do not do direct research yourself. You want to find out like how your target customer is going to react to a particular branding message. What you do is you do not do any survey, you do not do primary research, you don't do anything. What you do is probably meet up with somebody who has already done the research and maybe pay them up and get all their data, and you have everything. This is secondary research. But if you see in terms of immediacy, how fast you can get it, secondary research comes first, right? You can get it immediately, you can pay them and get the data. But in terms of sustainability of extrapolation, like how much data can actually you get, specific data that can actually help you sustain your business for long term, maybe that would not be that high. It's because it comes the lowest, is because you do not get a lot of specific questions answered when you take research data from somebody else's, right? But it makes for fast data collection. So now we have talked a lot about like how you're going to design the data, create the process. You go through the research design, the research methodology process we talked about, like you get the purpose, type of investigation, you set a deadline and all that. Hypothesis, you have understood what hypothesis is, and now you have the step-by-step procedure how to do this. Like first establish the problem, then you decide how to solve it, then determine the methodology, then find out the data collection tools, then actually collect the data, then analyze the data and present through written and oral report. And then you know like what kind of market research method you can use, right? You can also find out more about them in internet. Now what I'm going to give you in the end is an actual sheet that I have prepared here that you can use. Oh, I'm vanishing here. Okay, that you can actually, I'm going to give it away and then it will be there in the link in the description, right? This is a sheet that you can actually use in order to actually create your research. Okay, if you are new to research, this sheet can be really helpful to you. So I'm going to give you a problem example so that you know how to operate it. So it has 3 tabs: research design, research breakdown, and research calendar, right? If you follow this process, you can approach your research very methodologically and systematically and get it done in a short amount of time. So let's say we want to solve this particular problem. If I have a problem like this, okay, I don't know how to create my branding so that I can attract my target customer to my social media profiles and websites. Okay, I don't want to know personal branding, I don't know how to do that. Okay, if I have this problem, what is the objective of the research then? This is the problem that I have. The objective is to find out the most effective branding methods I should use that will grab the attention of my target customers, right? That would be the objective of the research. Okay? Now, so you see, first we state out the problem, then we write the objective of research. Now what we do is, now we are going to define the methodology or process to follow to achieve the objective. So we should have some basic idea on what the methodology or process that we are going to do. Okay, otherwise how we're going to do it. Now let's start with this one. Just a second. So, yeah. Now what process will I follow to find out what would be the most effective branding method I should use in order to do that? If I think about it, probably I'll come to this. I will try to find out the best entrepreneurs, I mean, let's say the most successful entrepreneurs in my category and find out what branding methods they are using. So this is one of the simplest thing I can do, is like find out like who are the most successful entrepreneurs in my category. Say I'm a productivity coach, so who are they and what kind of branding they are using that is making them successful, because they are already successful. So what they might be using, there's a very high chance that they're doing it right. Now deadline, by what time I want to come at this conclusion and find out like and solve my problem, using this methodology. So I want to find out in let's say in 7 days. Okay, 7 days would be, today is 23rd August, it will be 30th August 2019, right? So I have now a deadline. Now what I want is a research tool or process to use. Now, what kind of research tool or process am I going to be using? Since I talked about, like, there, I could do a survey, I could directly talk with an expert, I can directly watch YouTube videos and all that. So for my particular thing, I want to find out successful entrepreneurs in my category and what branding techniques methods they are using. What I can do is direct observation. I can just visit their site and figure things out. That I can do. I can talk to a branding expert coach. This is what I can do also. I can also talk, watch some YouTube videos on personal branding for digital entrepreneurs. Right? This is what I can do. Simple. Now, from these three, if I have to find out which is the most important tools, then I can just prioritize it. The most important thing for me would be direct observation, because this costs me nothing and this gets me the intel immediately if I just do direct observation. Talk to a branding expert, it actually costs me, so I probably would not make it the A2, and I would make YouTube videos A2 because it costs me. And the third thing probably I'll keep in mind is this. Right now I have it in prioritized, so direct observation. So I go for direct observation. So how much time would it take me to observe all the entrepreneurs who are in my target category and find out like what kind of methodology they are using? What I can do is I can understand that it would probably take me 7 days. So I have no time to do all of this thing. Probably the 7 days would be spent just doing this. So let's focus on just this, right? So next thing what I do is I'm going to go to this tab, research breakdown, and what am I going to do is lay down all the tasks that I have to do in order to achieve this direct observation process for finding out who are the successful entrepreneurs in my category and what branding methods they are using. That's what I have to do. The first step in order to is to find out, okay, make a list of all successful digital entrepreneurs in my category. Right? First, I have to have a list of that. What is the second thing? Second is make a list of variables that I am going to be checking for these entrepreneurs' social media profiles and websites. So first I have to make a list of variables that I'm going to check for each this entrepreneur's profile. Maybe I'll check their website. What kind of things am I going to check on their website? On what basis I'm going to judge them, compare every one of them, you know? So what are these variables that I'm going to do that? So I have to create something for that. Then I have to start doing the direct observation process. Maybe now it's simple. Maybe first would be how many, okay, make a list of this. There will be another thing probably. Step 3, decide how many entrepreneurs social profile I'm going to study. How many? Because if there are like 100 entrepreneurs, I cannot complete them in 7 days. Neither I want to. So how many of them I want to? Maybe 10 of them, right? If I consider like 10 entrepreneurs would be good, the super successful ones, then the next step would be very simple, like direct observation of first entrepreneur. So whoever the first entrepreneur would be, I would do direct observation of social media profile for the first entrepreneur, and then it repeats like that. Sorry. The second, fourth, sixth, seventh, or something like that. And if I just draw it like this, 8, 9, 10. Okay, and right. So this is it. Then I do the work here. Okay, actually I don't have to write here because I have a calendar for this. So basically I have to write the direct observation process begins. Okay, this would be the fourth step. Okay, now the fifth step is to collect, now create data collection sheets and put metrics for comparison. So whatever I'm going to observe, there would be some data and I would be collecting in sheets, and there will be some metrics by which I can compare, right? And I'm going to show you an actual data sheet I have done, a particular research I conducted, and all of that, so that you have some clarity on this. So after I complete this, I have put the data collection, this, that. I have to also schedule daily time for direct observation process. How much time I'm going to do spend daily for conducting the research. Okay, actually this would be later and this would be in front. Yeah. Now after all of this, the direct observation process will begin, and probably after this, after the direct observation process ends, I'm going to analyze data and then create conclusion. And this is how it ends. So it's an 8-step process, right? So now I'm going to decide like how much approximate time it would take, like how much. So let's find out. So make a list of all successful digital entrepreneurs in my category. How much time it will take? Let's maybe 1 hour at max. Okay. Make a list of variables that I'm going to be checking to these entrepreneur social media profiles and website. Maybe it will take me another 30 minutes. Decide how many entrepreneur social profile am I going to study. How many I'm going to study. This will take me hardly probably 10 minutes. Or not even 10 minutes, 5 minutes. Create data collection sheets and put metrics for comparison. Right, I have to create the sheet. Probably that will take me 45 minutes. Schedule daily time for direct observation process. How much that will take me? Maybe 15 minutes. Direct observation process, how much time it will take? Probably 5 days, right? Analyze the data, 1 day, not 1 day. I mean, analyze the data probably would take me 3 hours. Okay, create, not 3 hours, let's say 2 hours. Create conclusion, maybe 45 minutes, right? So this is what I have broken down. Now once it's broken down, the entire research process, now what I still need to do is this. Copy this, and we have this research calendar here, and paste it here. Okay, now the research calendar has quite a good thing, because now we are going to put the dates here. When am I going to start? Today is 23rd August. If I start, let's say tomorrow, like it would be 24th August, right? And we are going to just first stretch it out for some, let's not stretch it right now. 24th August would be Saturday, right? So make a list of all successful digital entrepreneurs in my category. I can complete it. Oh, okay, just a second. I'm also going to copy this one. Insert copy cells. Right. Now, if it is there, so I know like on Saturday, 1 hour I can spend doing that, right? Now, if I just break it down, I can see like if I spend the first day doing this and I move to something like this, then every day's task I have already broken down here, what I have to do. The direct observation takes actually 5 days. So what am I going to do is just paste it here and break it down to 5 individual days. So first day direct observation process. Okay, is for the first day, and I break it down like this. For the 6th day, I'm going to do for 5 days, so we don't need the 6th day. We can delete that, and we can have this here, right? And we have it good and proper. Cool. Now, so you can see now it's broken down. So it's now how much time am I going to give for direct observation? Let's say every day I'm going to give 1 hour, right? So now it's broken down like that. Oh, just a second. Yeah, we have it. So we can see already by 4th September, I can complete all this work, and it also follows the entire research methodological process. So here you can see the 3 metrics here. I've written down the 3 metrics is because once you have done all of this, you should probably have the 3 metrics that you're going to be using in order to compare and conclude the data from all this observation process. Like the data, actually this metrics you will get, like what you have to collect. Let's say lead generation, number of lead generation, okay, generation from not related to market research process. Probably you will have some data like how many people are using a particular kind of copywriting. So maybe the metric one would be what is the header, how many kind of similar headers are there, let's say 5 or something like that, and we'll come to it. And so these are like probably the 3 metrics you are going to be using. It's not necessary actually, because you're anyways going to be creating your own metrics. When you are actually creating the data collection sheets, you'll create your own metrics. It's better you create your own. That's why I deleted it. So this is like the basic thing that you can use. Now what I promised, I'll show a simple research I conducted, and it's a continual research. I keep doing it almost on a daily basis. It's because it's very important for me. Now here you can see this is like a dashboard, and this has like a lot of numbers in it. So what is basically this is my outreach sheet, and I had been doing this research. I've been trying to come across customers and send them a lot of messages, different kinds of messages, because I'm conducting like this 30 minutes interviews with people, and which message would attract my target customer better. And I have been playing with a loads of messages here. So there are like how many, like uh, 12 kind of messages I've started with, and I have all of them here. It's not important that you see the message, but the thing is I have tested these messages out with a lot of people. Now, so what I do is, these are the number of messages I have sent. So the message 0 I've sent to 8 people, message 1 is to 86 people, custom message 2 is to 23 people, MM message 2 to 65 people. These are different kinds of messages. Okay, I send to people during my outreach work, and I try to conclude how many responses are coming, and I put this in my data sheet, and these are the data I've collected. So for a particular kind of sheet, I can see here that there is the number of response, how many positive response, how many negative response. For some of them I have not collected the positive response, for some are there, and how many surveys people have completed, how many message to response ratio is there. Yeah, so how many people have in MI message one, we can see the response ratio is 16%, number of message to number of response I have achieved. But for MI message 2, this is 22%. But MI message 3 is much more valid because I've sent it to 1079 people, and it has a 16% response ratio. Okay, this is the average time it takes to send a message to a person. It is like total positive response, so how many people responded positively, and all of this metrics. So this is what I actually mean by having metrics in order to conclude which is the right kind of method you should be using. So if I'm doing a branding kind of survey, there would be a different kind of metrics and tools that I'm using. This is not for branding. This I did for my own outreach research. Okay, so I hope you have some clarity on how to do research effectively. And if this kind of content helps you, if you find this my video in my YouTube channel, or in my Facebook page, or somewhere else, please leave a comment, and like how it was helpful to you, or and let me know if it's like if you would like something related to this content or something else. Maybe I would like a video on that. So bye bye, have a great day.